Welcome to the episode 4 of Freaked Out Podcast. My name is Fabian and I'll be your host today. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for being here, for listening to this podcast. I released the first 3 episodes 2 weeks ago, and I released them all at the same time because someone said that's the way of releasing a podcast, even if I'm re-releasing the podcast, but I listened to them and I released 3 episodes at the same time, and I already have over 100 views per episode, and it means really a lot. Actually, when I'm recording this, it's not 2 weeks, it's 1 week, but I have to talk about something. And if you want to jump straight into the story, I'll leave the timestamp so you can check the description box and you can follow that if you don't want to listen my little monologue over here. But I have to talk about something. First of all, I'm gonna break the podcast rules. The same person that told me I have to release 3 episodes at the same time, the same person told me that I should not talk about time and dates and not important stuff. Like, make episodes for the archive and do not make episodes for the moment. But I really need to talk about this because we as a country, Serbia, I'm from Serbia, we had our first ever probably mass shooting and mass school shooting. It's not the first mass shooting, it's the first school shooting. And we were all like paralyzed from shock and from fear, and I was simply not capable to record last week and to release the 4th episode on Monday regularly because it was like a meteorite hit us. On May 3rd, a 13-year-old little piece of shit, he took his father's gun and he killed 8 people, 8 of his friends and 1 security worker, and he wounded 13 more kids in Belgrade. And the next day, like the evening of the next day, on May 4th and May 5th, another older piece of shit, like he was 21 years old, he took his father's automatic gun and killed also 8 people, and he wounded another 17 people in a village next to my town. I live in Smederevo, which is very near Belgrade, and it was in the villages between those 2 cities. And he was even shooting here, but no one got hurt, and we were up all night following the news. I was genuinely scared because, as I said, things like this rarely happen. Mass shootings here, and especially school shooting, never happened before. And I was simply not capable of recording and editing the episode. And right now, I'm not recording in the room where I'm recording because police is patrolling all over the city all day. Even now, it's the next week. You can maybe even hear it in the background, like it's really loud. So we feel very weird. So today for you, I have a little bit light story. It's not about, murder. It's about crime. And we should also remember that true crime podcasts mainly focus on murders when there are plenty of crimes out in the world. And today I'm bringing you the 10 dumbest criminals from all around the world. We have like 10 mini stories, which are quite, interesting. I don't want to say funny, but people can be really stupid sometimes, like really stupid. And I also want to say that my Patreon is starting again in a few weeks. I'll see. I have a bunch of stuff pre-recorded for the Patreon, and I will open it once again. But I will notify you on social media or in the next episode, so follow me, I guess, if you don't want to miss that. But let's just jump into the story today, okay? So, 10 dumbest criminals. You think that people who do crimes, who rob stores, who, assault people, they are, a little bit smarter than average child. But guess not. So we have Klaus Schmidt as our first story. So in August of 1995, a man in Berlin, he decided to rob a bank with a handgun. Now, this rolled out and acted out like a pretty standard bank robbery. You know, he had a mask, he had a gun, he had basically everything you need to rob a bank. He came inside, he pointed a gun at them, and he asked for money. Classical story. And they were like, sure, here's the money. And then they asked him, do you need a bag? And Schmidt was like, looking at them and said, you're damn right, it's a real gun. So this made obvious to the tellers that the robber was deaf. And they sounded the alarm, which notified the police, while Schmidt had no idea, because he was completely deaf. And he went alone to rob a bank without a hearing aid or anything. And in a funny twist, he later sued the bank for apparently abusing his disability.
That was legitness.
The next story we have is Joy Miller and Matthew McNally. You know, as I said, they also wanted to rob a bank or a store, not sure. And I said you need mask, you need a gun, you need, everything. But they didn't use masks or hoods, the stuff that is, typical for most criminals. But instead, they chose to draw on their faces with permanent marker. So, while it may have made them hard to recognize during the crime, permanent marker is, well, you guessed it, notoriously hard to remove, which left the man extremely easy to identify when the police were looking for the culprits. And this dumb decision earned them the nickname Dumb and Dumber in the prison. I mean, it's a good idea, but, And also, how could they not remove it? Like, use rubbing alcohol. It removes everything. It will make your face burn, but it removes the marker. Then the next case is Jacob Wise. So Jacob Wise was a shoplifter from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he wanted to grab a few t-shirts from the store. But, the t-shirts in the store have security tags on them, which ring the alarm when you try to take them outside. So he removed the tags. Nice move. And he walked outside with the shirts, but the alarm went off anyway. Why? Well, he's not as wise as his name suggests, because he put the removed tags in his pockets. How? I have so many questions.
Nice.
Then we have Maganga. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but it's spelled M-G-A-N-G-A. So Maganga, Majanja, I have no idea. So he was a 17-year-old boy from Omaha in Nebraska, and he woke up one day and he was bored and he decided to steal a car. So he got the gun and he pointed the gun in the face of a woman who was taking her son to school. And he was demanding that she gave him the car. And she, of course, agreed. I mean, in front of a gun. But she agreed. And he got into the car and he was about to take off when he realized that the car had the manual transmission, which he was unable to drive. And he, tried to fumble around with the controls. But after moving a car only a few miles, he decided to bolt on foot, but he was eventually caught by authorities. Then the next story is Derek Mosley. He decided that he was gonna rob a store. Again, he didn't care which store, He just needed money and he got his, stuff on him. He had his, mask, hood, and instead of a gun, he got a baseball bat. And he just burst into one store. He didn't care which store it is. He just burst into one store because he needed money. And he was like, they will give me money because I will hit them with the baseball bat. So they will give me money to avoid that. Bad luck for him because he bursted into a gun store.
Bruh.
How stupid. Naturally, owner pointed the gun at him and he held him captive until police arrived. How stupid you have to be. Then we have Mac Yearwood. Mac Yearwood was wanted for an alleged battery charge in which the victim identified Yearwood as a possible suspect. Subsequently, police discovered there were outstanding warrants for his arrest and pursued to investigate further. They printed out "Wanted of the Week" poster with his photo, and Mark found that move very nice, I guess, and that poster and the picture, since he used it as his profile photo on Facebook. The literal wanted poster, "Wanted of the Week" poster. Even one of his friends commented, "Nice mugshot, bro," to which Mark replied, "Thanks, bro." Close your eyes, bro. What you see, bro? Nothing. That's me without you, bro. And you guessed it right. He made the arrest so much easier for the police with that move. And when officers asked him to undress, a bag of cannabis fell out of his pocket, which resulted in a possession charge. Thank God I'm not this stupid. I am stupid, but not this stupid. How do you pronounce a surname Pugh? Puh? Is it Pooh? I guess it's Pooh or Pug. Sorry, I have to look this up. It's pronounced like Pew, like Hugh with a P. So it's not Pooh. So Donald Chip Pugh, he was a man suspected of arson and vandalism, and he sent a selfie of himself to police in Ohio in the US because he found the photo on his arrest warrant to be unflattering. This is me. This is the crime I would do. This is the stupid move I would do because I cannot stand the ugly photos of myself. I Photoshop myself like 200 times. This would be me, like, you posted this picture, like the tagged picture on Facebook. Like, no, I want this picture to be on my wanted poster. So he sent a selfie to police and said that here's a better photo, that one is terrible. And he also told a local radio station, man, they did me wrong. They put a picture out that made me look like I was a Thundercat or James Brown on the run. I can't do that. That's me. That's word by word me. So Lima Police Department responded by saying, we thank him for being helpful, but now we would appreciate if he would come to speak to us. Then we have Ashley Keast. Ashley Keast was a good-looking man, I'm not gonna lie. He stole a phone. He naturally made a selfie with the new phone, but he didn't realize it was a dual SIM phone, and he did not remove the old SIM. I'm sorry, the SIM card. Is that the way it's pronounced in English? I don't know. We call it SIM here. So he did not remove the SIM card. He uploaded the selfie to WhatsApp, but unknowingly the WhatsApp switched the accounts, and he unknowingly sent that selfie to the colleagues of the guy he stole that phone of. So everyone got his sexy selfie in the mirror, you know. And then I have several stories where I don't even have the names of the criminals because BBC, probably where I took the stories from, does not like names, apparently, because all their stories are like nameless. And when I searched on Google for these cases, I could not find anything, so maybe they made up the stories. But anyway, there was a man once who tried to rob a supermarket in South Africa. He had an amazing plan to cut the roof, you know, when the store was closed, and to jump in. His plan worked perfectly. He cut the roof, he got into the store. But you know, as much as he made a perfect plan to enter the supermarket, he failed to make a plan how to get out. Sorry. So he found himself locked in the store, and he stayed there until the police came next day. The store manager arrived, they saw him in there, they called the police, and then they waited and opened for the police in order to enter the shop. And the suspect in the time was found hiding inside the storeroom. Stupid. Then we have Anthony Garcia. Anthony Garcia was taken in the police, and he had his mugshot taken for something else, not for the crime. I will explain. He got arrested and they took a mugshot of him for another crime. But they noticed that he had a tattoo on his chest, like his whole chest were tattooed. When they looked in that tattoo, they realized it was depicting the crime. It was depicting the murder of a man. The tattoo revealed all the details of the night, from the Christmas lights and bent street lamp near the liquor store when the body was found, to the image of an angry helicopter machine gunning the victim. And this was metaphor because Garcia's nickname was Chopper. So he was like helicopter chopper, you get it. Act like you get it. So he was so proud of the murder of that man in front of a liquor store that he tattooed it all over his chest. And then proudly showed that tattoo on mugshot photograph. Great. People are so stupid, and people, I believe that, besides the fact they're stupid as fuck, they think they can do anything, and nothing can stop them. So apparently your own brain stopped you. And I have one bonus story for you, nameless story, because these were all short stories. I will have one bonus 11th story for you. And that is that there were 3 drug addicts. This starts like a fairy tale. Once there were 3 drug thieves, drug addicts, which later became drug thieves, whatever. They broke into a home in Silver Springs, Florida, and they believed that it was their luckiest day ever because they discovered 3 jars of cocaine. Like 3 jars of cocaine just standing there on the table. They took it home and they snorted the contents, but then they discovered that the jars were in fact urines and that they were snorting the remains and the cremains of the victim's husband and their 2 dogs. Yeah. Great. So, thank you for listening. If you like today's stories, you can follow us anywhere. We are, and if you want to hear more stories, we are literally everywhere, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, like we are everywhere. We are on YouTube. There are no video episodes, but you can listen on YouTube, the regular episodes. If you want to follow us, on Instagram it's Freaked Out Podcast, on Twitter is Fabian Adams, but instead of a B, it's a 6. We are also back on Facebook, but the Freaked Out Podcast handle was not available anymore because I shut down my previous page. So now it's Freaked Out Podcast by Fabian. So you can check us there. And that's that. Thank you for listening and be careful what you snort. Bye. Have a good day.